Let's just walk through these questions. We call it Reimagine HR. Again, this is specific about the HR leaders in this organization. The case is about the global HR leadership team being tasked with supporting its global financial service organization to reimagine itself and make the changes necessary to optimize its value globally. How would we define the optimal outcome in this situation? Well, they have defined it for me. They are using digitization, workforce productivity, HR collaboration, etc. So these are specific measures that they've already identified that they will work on, and we'll help them. One of the, as you go down the modules in our change management course, you'll see one of them is to recognize the possibilities. And when you do an issue and range analysis, it actually drives the specific measures on all of the issues. But at this level, again, we're at the dialogue puzzle level, kind of 35,000 feet, trying to get a clear understanding of what is the case about, what are the key issues, what are you trying to achieve, who are the key people. In terms of key stakeholders, in this case, they've identified the global leadership team that they're reporting to. They have identified themselves as the top 40 HR leaders in the world, and they have to report and they cover the business heads from 8 specific business units in the group. There may be other key stakeholders. They're the ones we've identified so far. But through dialogue, you start to identify more. In terms of the issues, again, now let's back up a little bit. You saw here, we talked about the optimal outcome. Well, those are the measures for the outcome. They may remain the measures, but in terms of the issues, and what research I've done so far has validated this, the measures on the issues that are important is obviously they need to rationalize. They want to become more efficient and effective and greater value for money. So that issue would be financial savings, dollar savings. Operational efficiencies could be measured in time or full-time equivalent man units, employee head, that sort of. Transparency is identified as an issue. I guess a lot of stuff takes place and nobody really knows why. So they want to make decision-making more transparent, operations more transparent. They want to make their operations more sustainable. How would you measure sustainability? An interesting question. Can you do it inside and out consistently over years? That's a good measure of sustainability. Talent development, how will they measure that? What's the improvement, promotion, all that sort of aspects in terms of talent development. Customer service, also identified as one of the top issues. And societal service. The naming on that one, a little bit awkward at the moment, but again, anytime you work globally, language becomes an issue. Most people have English as a second language. The number 7 is really looking at what's our role in terms of helping the societies and the communities in which we operate. What methods have we identified are important in this case? Well, in terms of dialogue skills, I list all 5: presence, respect, expression, suspending, and absorbing. In working with this particular client, I'll go specifically into 2 of those. And I'll highlight also the MAMA technique, the importance of asking questions of each other globally in order to uncover opportunities for improvement as a group. In terms of dialogue methods, I've identified 3. Again, there's over 50 in our book, and we've got more online now as well. Challenge mapping and the whole how might we, the design thinking is important to think about. So the question, I guess, is how might we realize our inherent value as a global entity? Why do we want to realize our value? Well, why be a global bank if you can't realize the value of being global? What's stopping us? Well, then there's a lot of issues and a lot of reasons. A second method that I'm recommending is Gestalt. Gestalt is a method that enables you to only share experience that you have. If you haven't got any experience on that, you should remain silent. So Gestalt is an efficient overlay in terms of having a dialogue with the key stakeholders. We don't want opinions at this stage. Gestalt wants experience sharing. Have no experience, silence is the best offer. And another dialogue method that's really quite cool is positive deviance. This is a way for organizations to study the little things that they do in different parts of the world that have outsized consequences. And for example, they might be using a software in one country that has led to an incredible operational efficiency. And they just like it, and that's what they do. Other countries have no idea that software exists, but if it was flagged as a positive deviance in the organization, then other countries might say, wow, we should do this too. And that's how you can better become a learning organization. You need the dialogue, but you need to help the stakeholders think about what are you going to talk about, right? So 3 dialogue methods and 2 dialogue skill sets. In terms of, let me move forward. Timing issues. We know in this particular case, the month of October is going to be used for preparing, thinking, pre-reading. In the month of November is going to be used for hearing from external speakers like myself. They're going to be holding their group sessions to dialogue on all of these topics. And then they're going to have to prepare their message and report up to the global team. And once they've done that, they're going to have to follow up. So those are kind of key milestones in that particular case. In terms of the space for the dialogue, they use WebEx, so that's going to take place in WebEx. They're actually going to be having, I guess, 6 groups of 6 to 8 people each. And they're going to be on WebEx talking, so that gives you an idea of the number of people. And they're also going to, we're recommending that they have one-on-one calls, get on WhatsApp, get on Skype, get on WebEx, just one-on-one phone calls to further deepen the dialogue between the members of the group, or maybe the members, people between their group and other groups, or the country heads that they work with and the business unit heads that they work with. And I am also recommending in terms of space that they think that they go live on site in all 50 countries where they operate. That this dialogue would probably be better informed if it was happening on site with the real people and the real issues around them. Personally, even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, I've always found going to where the people are gives you that firsthand experience. That's the knowledge by walking around. In terms of options, other options I thought of, in this particular case, they should be asking their internal customers to try to answer the questions that HR is trying to answer. Why not ask them? Go to them and say, we don't know, we have an idea, but what do you think? It's a great dialogue. Or present what you're already thinking about and ask them, what are you missing? If they want to help you, they'll engage. If they think you're on top of this, they'll say, you've got it, move on, they're busy. Or number 3, you could road test your answers with your internal customers before reporting up inside HR. So again, think about the process. In this particular case, they're going to be having their discussions inside HR and then reporting up to the global leadership team. Well, you may want to test out your answers on a few people before you report to the global leadership team. That's what we're recommending there in terms of options. In terms of next steps, we're recommending that they figure out ground rules for their actual dialogue on WebEx. We are recommending that they spend some time getting to know each other well enough to identify their blind spots. They may or may not, I don't know the details. I don't think all 40 know each other very well. Some know each other well, some are relatively new to each other. But as a group, you know, you want to be conscious as a group, do we know everything? Or is there some stuff we don't know anything about? You know, where's our blind spots? Because that's going to come back and affect the perception of others about you, and will affect your success. Decide who is going to make the reporting up to the global leadership team. Decide how you're going to do that, because if you decide that up front, it's going to make life a lot easier as you're going through the dialogue. You'll flag the content and the process elements that you need as you're going through it. So I also recommend you think about those messages early on. You can't obviously start with the messages already framed, but you may have a general idea of the areas or the issues, as I previously set out, in terms of what you want to talk about. So you may want key messages in each of those key issue areas.